Hello everyone, Untitled, welcome to another Modpack Overview, this time on Forge New Possibilities. A modpack that simply focuses on a bit of tech, as well as magic, food, storage, and a few other bits and pieces. It is also based on the ForgeCraft 1.16.3 season. So as you can see here, obviously, it hasn't been approved yet. I'm mainly just waiting for it at the moment, but I'll just sort of give you an idea of what's available. Now, it's kind of loosely based on the 1.16.3 season. Some mods are obviously not for 1.16 yet, at least currently, like Create or Chicken Chunks or certain others. So I've got a few alternatives in between to fill in things. But yeah, and I'm unable to actually get the pack working currently because the, as you can see, it says New World there, but yeah, then it says either the safe mode or title screen. So unfortunately I can't do much about that, but I'll try and work it out eventually and mix a few mods around or just tweak a few things. But yeah, for the most part we'll just go off the actual mod list, and maybe I'll try and show some other stuff in game of what's possible with it. Or if you've seen similar from the 1.16.1 season, it should be basically about the same but with a few other additions. So yeah, so we've got Ftp Essentials, which adds in utility commands for servers and other things. Slime bios makes slimes pick up items. Nether portal fix, which fixes the actual nether portals in multiplayer when it comes to destinations and which portal it sends you to. Guidebook adds in certain specific book elements for mods and such. You've got a library for animation entities and such. Pocket storage, which adds in that sort of item there for picking up stuff, similar to, I guess, a dev null, kind of, in a way. You've got gauges and switches, which adds in more levers, buttons, and other things to use with redstone. Find Me allows you to find certain things in chests easier. Gravel Miner allows you to mine through gravel, so it's not a hindrance. World Map I added as a new one to pretty much work alongside the minimap, because obviously full screen maps can be useful. Elements of Power, which adds in different ores as well as magic or spell elements, I think, even. Textures, cooking for blockheads, which adds in a lot more food and cooking elements as well as multi-block stuff. You've got Controlling, which adds the ability for you to do bits and pieces with keybinds. Dank Storage, which technically, since I forgot that we had Pocket Storage in here, I added in, which is kind of like a dev null sort of thing, except not, I think, as expansive as Pocket Storage, where you've got a lot more storage options of things like if you had multiple dirt or cobble or something, whilst here it's just, I think, the one type of block or item that you can store, except for the fact that you've got higher storage amounts to it, or more tiers than I think Pocket Storage, but it depends how you want to utilize them. Citadel, which is just a library. You've got Power for different machines, power generation, bits and pieces, reactors and such. Ranged Pumps, which adds in its own pump for fluids. Culinary Construct, which is also another food mod. Bookshelves is a library mod. Building Gadgets, which adds in certain gadgets and tools and such for assisting with builds. Dark Utilities for adding in things like plates and other bits and pieces for redstone and other sort of, I guess, mob or filtering certain possibilities. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Don't know what happened there. We've got Mechanism, and it's obviously machines, Digital Miner, it's Reactors, it's Jetpack, it's all its stuff, and add in the generators, tools, and additions for those who want, obviously, power generation, additional tools to use, and just additions if they want to build with the plastic blocks. Cauldron Recipes, which adds in just the ability for you to use cauldrons for certain brewing recipes, I think. Just enough resources so you can tell where how to go about mob drops and ores and such. XNet for obviously doing certain, I think, item transport or food transport or some certain connections between things. And I thought I'd add the gases add-on as well, for the sake of mechanism being in the pack. We've got Podium, which is a new one that I'm not too familiar with. I think it was like for writing or certain other bits and pieces, sort of like a book one or certain other possibilities. Emojiful for adding emojis into the chat. Find Storage is a digital item block storage system for connecting to other blocks and that for auto crafting and this and the other. You've got Configurable Cane for allowing sugarcane to be tweaked. Pretty Pipes for adding in pipes as well as filters and certain other things you can do for inventory transport. You've got Industrial Foregoing for farming and other sort of capabilities for, I think, mob farms and other stuff. You've got sort of a mod for input and output analysis stuff. You've got Tipping the Scale for GUI related. Tool stats for displaying tool stats on item tooltips, even though I assume it's not the same as the one where you press F3 and H and it's just basically that as a mod. Probably. Either way, useful to some people. The plastic blocks for mechanism. Project table, pretty much adding sort of a bit of additional bits and pieces to a crafting table. Don't know if it has like blueprints and certain other bits and pieces, but that's my guess. That's library, whoops. There's going to be a theme here. Mining world, so just another, or advanced mining dimension I should say technically. So that's a mining dimension. Simply Light, which adds in other lighting options. Simply Backpacks for more backpacks for storage that's on the go. You've got Sign Button for adding in the ability for redstone signal outputs for signs. Portals and certain blocks. You've got Curious for putting certain things on there, similar to baubles. Tetra for adding in additional items and blocks and tech and other things. Britannia for using flowers and magic. Splashy for the splash screen related stuff. Pachali for its books and assisting, obviously adding a bunch of information of how mods work and such. Snowballs and that probably deal damage, I think. Open blocks elevator, so you got stuff for floors. You've got Ultimine for sort of vein mining. Just another one I thought I'd add for server related stuff. Runelic for runic fonts. Another type of magic mod. Tools, chunk loader. A light overlay type mod. The ability for shared ender chests and security. Another chunk loader mod. We've got more of that happening. Different paintings, sorting of items, goo, and certain other things that can be used with it. Removing spam from your inventory. Storage that can be powered and store a bunch of its pieces in it. As a multi-block. Flattens bedrock. Allows for item filtering. For viewing recipes and shooting things in. Displaying achievements in a way. Adds in additional blocks for decoration. I don't know if the tank or certain other things have been added since. It's been a while since I've reviewed it. But it's Zycraft in the ForgeCraft-like pack. Waystones, so you've got the ability for going between different waystones, sort of like waypoints, except that they're just stones you find in the world. You can break, you can move them elsewhere, you can set each point as a thing to travel between. Clumps for XP orbs being gathered together, so performance sort of, I think, even. I'm keeping the entities as one or fewer entities. A library, certain storage similar to refined storage but in its own direction. The ability to get biome information, item, fluid, sort of ender chest like transport, growing things in pots, growing trees in pots instead of just crops. We've got different minecarts with skins, the ability to charge things in a block, compressed air and a few other things around it. We've got RF tools with storage, utility, and a few other things, so building, crafting, power, storage, and other bits and pieces. We've got XNet there for item, fluid, and energy transport. Restrictions to blocks and such. Ice and Fire, which adds in dragons and other bits and pieces. Removing of toast notifications. Music disks. Craftweek integration for GEI. Enchantability for certain enchantment related stuff. The ability to move stuff on the go elsewhere. A upgradable tool. The ability to customize recipes and such. A spell focused magic mod. Claiming of chunks. Clay versions of buckets and other things. Miniaturized coal, so you've got obviously the ability to use it as smelting one item instead of 8 that coal typically can. Growable resources, upgradable storage, chest sizes, the ability to control sound, and a few other things like a trash can, descriptions for enchantments, the ability to see what something is in the world, storing stuff on a belt, multi-block ore processing, and other bits and pieces, different tools and things. Another chunk loader, different types of milk, additional features that are sort of added, minimap, additional things with rats that are set in new mob, and other tons of blocks and things you can use. I don't know enough about Ratlantis, but I assume it's like a dimension or different biome or something. The ability to have your stuff stored in a gravestone when you take damage, making crafting tables work better. This is going to be annoying. Statues, I assume just decoration. The ability to add in different blocks as well as supporting mine colonies. Adds more ambience, adds in villages and other certain civilization NPC sort of stuff, I think. Displays certain stuff on the hunger bar. Adds in more blocks with an engineer-like feel. We've got routing of items modularly, the ability to do bits and pieces with there's fine storage, wireless tablet thing, and then the ability to control sound. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Obviously, I'll try and show things like images and whatever else in game if possible, but for the most part, that's about as close as I can get until I sort of fix this. Thanks so much for watching, and goodbye.